and I want to give you a load of quick and easy Peony Care tips. So let me know where you guys are viewing this from, because I'd love to see where you guys are from all around the globe. And let me know if the audio is okay on this. If you can give me a thumbs up, or just let me know if you guys can hear me. That would be great. And know that I'm going to also repost this video in case you can't, watch the entire thing, or you want to, duck in and out. So we always wind up, like kind of reposting them later on. So we're back here in the secret garden, and on the flower farm, all of our peonies exploded this week. So we had like 92-degree temperatures 2 days, and it was really crazy. Like everything just kind of blew up all at once. And so we've been doing a lot of harvesting. But in the meantime, I want to give you guys some tips on how to grow your own beautiful peonies in your own gardens. So I think the single most important tip that I can give you guys is that when you're planting your peonies, you want to make sure that you don't plant them too deep. Because when people plant their peonies too deep, they wind up getting like beautiful, lush green leaves, but they don't have blooms. And I'm going to show you what I mean over here. So these gals were put in the ground a long time ago. But on the bottom, there's like the crown is like kind of underneath here. And there's like a little tuber. And so, let's see, who's coming in from Iowa? Oh, nice. Yay. Or Indiana. Nice to see you guys. Okay. So over here, I think that was Iowa. We are looking at like the tuber, and from the tuber, which is kind of like, where like the crown of the plant is, there are these little shoots that are coming up. You want to make sure that you don't plant too much soil on top of here, because if you pile this up high with soil more than 2 inches, like I said, you're going to wind up getting those lush green leaves, but you're not going to wind up getting peony flowers. So that's probably the most. Okay, so Sherry's coming in from Rhode Island. Oh, great. Thanks, guys, for checking in. I appreciate that. So that's like the single most... Oh, it is Iowa. Thanks, Jody. Sorry, I had like one of those senior moments there. So yeah, so that's the most important thing. So if you have friends that are having trouble with their peonies, make sure that you tell them. That's like the number one tip, don't plant your peonies too deep. And another thing that's really important is when you have a new peony in your garden that's only like a year or two old, it might look something like this. So this gal was also planted this year. So we put this in the ground. Hey, Renee from Alabama. And it's, it's so much smaller, obviously, than that other gal that I just showed you over there. And it's really important not to cut back this plant. Hey, Lori from Missouri. Oh, I love that. Lori from Missouri. So you're going to make sure that even when this blooms, you're going to make sure that you don't cut off that flower, because a lot of times you'll have like this little young plant, you'll have one bloom on it, and it's so tempting to cut off that bloom. But what you want to do is you want to leave all of your leaves intact, because this plant right now, especially during the first couple years, is just establishing its root system, and it's establishing like its leaves, and it needs to kind of get set. So if you come in here and you cut this plant, say down here, because you want to put that beautiful bloom that's going to be up here in a vase, you're kind of like getting rid of all those green leaves that is supposed to be feeding the plant the whole rest of the season. So that whole photosynthesis needs to take place so that it can continue to store energy and then bloom the following year. So sometimes it just takes like 2 or 3 years to start getting a lot of blooms from your peonies too. So sometimes the reason why you're not getting blooms is just because the plant is young. And I want you to see right now, this guy got pummeled. So I'm going to I am going to cut off these leaves that are looking pretty crummy. So the leaves that are looking kind of diseased or crummy, definitely cut off, because that's almost like dead weight. So you don't want your peony to have to support that dead weight. So I'm going to cut off these really horrible wilted ones. But just be careful, guys, because sometimes plants do something called flagging on a hot summer day, where they kind of look really like wilted, and the blooms will look kind of like beat up and deflated. But then they'll come back in the afternoon. So there's a big difference between a flagging leaf and a leaf that's just had it. So I know that this leaf has had it because the leaf on the same plant that's next to it, these guys are looking awesome. So I know it's safe to cut these guys off. So that's the story with flagging. And which plant does a lot of flagging is hydrangea. So a lot of you have asked me, why are my hydrangeas like deflated in the afternoon? What am I doing wrong? Do I have to keep watering them? And most of the time the answer is no. So if you do like the water knuckle test, if you put your finger in the soil, if you kind of move the mulch away, and you put your finger in the soil down to like your second knuckle, and the soil is nice and dry, then you need to water it. And if the soil is nice and moist, then you need to leave it alone. So the same thing with peonies. So that's like a really great knuckle test water indicator for most plants. So you go down to that second knuckle. If it's moist, then you leave it alone. If it's dry, you give it a shot of water. And guys, peonies also like to be watered at the base, as do most plants, because if you water your peonies over the top, a lot of times they'll get like that mildew. A lot of people get like that powdery mildew on them, and that's just caused a lot of times by watering at night, and then temperatures kind of cool off, and you kind of get those mildewy spots on it. So let's take a walk over here. I want to show you, hey, Linda from Georgia, I want to show you some of the peonies in my garden and tell you some tips over here. Let me get my little clippers. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw our garden tour in May, but all this was green. There was like no color back here. Just about 2 weeks ago, like the lilacs in the background, they were just green. This whole garden bed was green. And all of a sudden it just like burst open once we had those super hot days. So here's the story. When you're harvesting your peonies, you want to make sure that when you harvest them, you know, a lot of people like to cut them to put them in vases. You want to make sure that you always leave, hey Colorado, you also want to make sure that you leave at least 2 sets of leaves on the plant. So like if I was cutting this bloom right here, this is a double. I love doubles. It has like double blooms on the top. I'm going to go down this plant, and when I clip it, say down here, I don't know if you guys can see in there. I'm trying to get my camera in there. I'm going to clip it here, but there's 2 sets of leaves left underneath there. And once again, that's going to help the plant feed itself for the rest of the season and store up some of that for the long winter. So always leave extra sets of leaves. And a lot of you have also asked me, you know, at the end of the season when these guys are all done blooming, what do you do with the leaves? And so, you know, the best answer for that is to leave them in place. So leave those leaves in place. They're going to start to get a little bit brown. They're going to start to get a little bit yellow. Hopefully, you know, it's not that big of a deal to you because they really need that photosynthesis to kind of, you know, store away that energy. So leave them be. And I have to say a little trick that I have over here. Let me take a walk over to my Annabelle's. No connection. Oh, are we back? I think we're back. Okay, I think I fixed the connection problem. I am really sorry, guys. Oh, oh man. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Can you guys see my peonies again? I think we're back. Yay! Okay. You know what happened? I turned off my Wi-Fi because I wanted to take you guys for a stroll. And I don't know. At the end of the day, somebody was able to call, and that kind of just threw me into a turmoil. Okay, so let's get back on track here. So back here, I've got the Annabelle hydrangea, and I have a whole bunch of peonies in back of it. So when these guys bloomed, and they're just kind of, you know, leaving their bloom period right now, but what's going to happen is these guys were really beautiful, and then these hydrangeas are going to hide the leaves as they're, you know, kind of fading away. Oh, it's still blurry? Oh, that's the worst. Let me go back to the peony section over here. Oh, I got to figure out the best connection for this house. It's always touch and go. Okay, how about over here? Can you guys see better over here? And then I promise I'll stay put. How's that connection now, guys? Is it a little bit better? Try to zoom in over here. How are we looking now? Try tapping your screen. Okay, I'm tapping the screen. What do you think, guys? Thanks, Elsa. Appreciate that. Can you guys see better now? Thank you for being my techies. I'll figure this out one day. It's like teaching an old dog new tricks. Yours isn't blurry, Lori? Oh, great. Anybody else? M&S, yes. Yes, I'm blurry, or yes, I'm not blurry. This is like the guessing game over here. It's okay? Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate your patience. Okay, so let me show you one of my blunders over here. So peonies get super heavy heads, and so what you're going to want to do is, if you're going to keep them in your garden and you know that you're not going to be, oh, okay, sure, yours is a bit blurry, but we're going to go with it. Okay, so if you have super heavy heads on your peonies, you could just put a peony cage around them. And so these are really, you know, they're all over the place. They're super easy to set up. And so you could just buy them in your local garden centers. It's just basically like 3 little posts, and it's got like rings wrapped around it. And then you could put this up either, the best time to put it up is when you are just planting your peony. But if you're like me, you have all these great plans and then you run out of time. So I actually just put this peony holder up today. So they have ones that they kind of like detach. So you can kind of detach this and you could put it around a mature plant. And I have all sorts of like peony holders listed in my Amazon shop page. If you just want to look in descriptions below, you could just order one there. Or like I said, you can go to like your local garden centers or Home Depot or Lowe's and you could buy them there. Some people even use like some tomato cages. And here's another thing I wanted to let you guys know about. See the ants on here? I know that's really hard. I'm really pushing my luck today. So I'm trying to get a close-up. And I know that even on a good day, it's hard to see close-ups on my phone. But there's a lot of ants on here. And they are licking off the nectar that's on like this tight bulb. So when the peonies are in this tight bulb stage, there's a nectar that's secreted from like these outside little petals. And the ants love them. And the ants are actually helping the plant right now. So they're not harming them, so you can leave them be. And it's wonderful because a lot of times these ants will then eat like the aphids and they'll eat all the bugs that will attack your peonies. So when you see those ants, you know, say, oh, you can see it? Oh, terrific. So when you see those ants, they're a blessing. Oh, of course, and now there's work going on next door, so now you're going to hear like, like the background. Boy, I can't get a break today. Anyway, leave the ants on your peonies, and what you're going to find is that you're not going to see them when they're in the full-blown open stage because that nectar's kind of gone. But if you do still have a couple on your plant, you could basically just take it and give it like a little shake to the ground. My gorgeous mama underneath that ring, and I bent that neck. So be super gentle when you're doing that. This guy I'm just going to wind up snipping off right now. So I'm going to give him a little snip. And guys, when you're cutting your peonies... Oh, you lost connection again? Oh, drats. Wow. All right. How about now? Can you hear me? I'm back. Oh my gosh. It's like when I take one step into the garden, then like the whole show shuts down. All right. So let me just give you some other quick tips because I really feel like I'm pushing my luck out here today. I don't know why this is being so nutty. If you have peonies that have a lot of these, you know, like the little side shoots off of them, you can do one of two things. As you start seeing those side shoots, when the plant is just starting to bloom, you can actually cut these little babies off, and then you'll get a bigger flower head in the beginning. But if you want, this is what I kind of do. I leave everything intact, and then when this gal, like kind of poops out, I'll just give her a gentle snip right in the middle, and then these gals will start to bloom. And that's like a really, then you get like 4 or 5 peonies from that same stem. So that's terrific. And let me see what else is here. Who else can I tell you about that I can get away from like that kind of that background noise? Can you guys hear that background noise? Is it like really loud? This guy over here is a Sarah Bernhardt, and you can tell the ants are still kind of having its way. Now this is a great, let's see, the ants are good. Yeah, I know, who would have thought? This is a great stage to cut your peonies at. They call this the marshmallow stage. Oh, you can't hear it? Oh, terrific. Yeah, I got a break. God is good. So you're going to give your peonies like a little squish. And if they're kind of in like this marshmallowy stage, it's a great time to cut them. Because if you cut your peonies when they're in this full-blown open stage, like we just saw these gals over here, this gal over here is only going to give you probably like, I don't know, maybe 2 days of vase life or maybe 3 days of vase life maximum. But if you can cut your peonies when it's in this really beautiful marshmallowy stage, it's probably going to give you like maybe 6 or 7 days of vase life. And it's really super important, guys, when you have your peonies in a vase that you keep them away from heat sources, because peonies will flop if you put them in front of like a window that has direct sunlight. Like they'll blow out and the petals will start falling off of them within like a day or two. And so keep them super cool. And another great trick is to put them in either a refrigerator overnight. Just make sure that they're not by any kind of fruits or vegetables, because fruits and vegetables give off like this really strong gas that most flowers don't like. So keep them away from fruits and vegetables, or you can put them, of course the dog's barking in the background now, and or you can also put them like outside at night. Sometimes I'll do that because temps are usually cooler at night. Or you can put them like in a basement or a garage if the temps are cooler there, because cool is key for peonies, and it's also cool for hydrangeas. Oh, I love that. So Corey said you should make a t-shirt that says marshmallow stage. That's terrific. I have to say, I love the marshmallow stage. Hey, Kevin, nice to see you from across the pond, the UK. All right, so that's that. I have a whole little list of things I wanted to cover with you guys, so let me go get my cheat sheet. And there's Lucy passed out in the back. Hopefully we're still good over here. I wanted to show you guys really quickly what I call the dry cut method, and this is what flower farmers use to prolong their peony season. So I'll come out here and I will cut blooms that are just before the marshmallow stage, but yet they're not in that tight bud stage, because if you cut a peony that's in the super tight bud stage, it's not going to open up. Like, this is too tight. It's not soft by any means. It's not squishy. I cut this bloom like, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks ago. So, oh, hey, Hugh, nice, thanks for checking in. So this is too tight. So you're gonna wanna cut it in a stage where it's not quite super marshmallowy, but it's not too tight. It's kind of like in this stage here. Oh, this guy kind of opened up on me already. So it's just before the marshmallow stage. And this is called the dry cut method because I basically cut this peony. I did not put it in water. I just put it in craft paper. And then I got some of the moisture off it. You want to make sure it's not moist. You want to let it dry out just a bit. So I didn't even wrap it. I kind of let it just get the morning dew off it. And then I wrapped it in craft paper. You saw how I did that. I had the little top folded down. The stem was closed. I'll put the date on it. And I pop it in my refrigerator. And then I'll pull it out like 2 or 3 weeks from now. And I'll give the stem like a fresh cut on the bottom. Like, I'll just cut like 2 inches, like 1 inch or 2 off the bottom. And I'll pop it in water. And I will get a beautiful peony bloom. So a lot of times, like, I'll have like functions, like my daughter's graduation was like in June, and all the peonies wound up, bursting open in May. And so I think I just dry cut maybe about 40 of them, and I popped them in the refrigerator, and I wound up taking them out like 2 or 3 weeks later, and we had beautiful, gorgeous peony arrangements. So that's a terrific flower farmer tip to kind of prolong your peony season. And this way, when your gorgeous blooms are all bursting at once, you can kind of save some of those for later on. And I just want to show you, Renee says, what zone am I in? I'm in zone 6, like 6B. And I'm sorry, Renee, the question disappeared before I could see that. Maybe pop that in there again. So these are just some of the beautiful blooms that we have here. These are considered to be doubles. If you have the choice and you're looking to plant peonies for the first time, I love doubles and I love what's called bombs. So these are doubles because they have tons and tons of like extra thick blooms on them. And then there's bombs that have like a huge explosion in the middle, and then they have like a single layer of these delicate petals on the outside. I also grow some of the single petal varieties. Those were the ones that were in back of the Annabelles over there, but they don't have a super long life in the garden or vase life because they're super delicate. So they're spectacular to look at. I mean, they're really beautiful. So if you want to try growing those, I mean, I have a lot of them here, but I really prefer the double variety. So there's like double whites. And so I'm in New Jersey. So Katie, I'm in New Jersey, planting zone 6B. And so, yeah, so these are just some of the other varieties. This is Sarah Bernhardt. This is my absolute favorite peony to grow. I think this might be my absolute favorite flower in the world, actually. And this is what she looks like. This is like one of the side shoots coming off. So the side shoot's going to be tremendous on this plant also. Okay, and then this over here is another Sarah Bernhardt. And then these are, I think these are called Carl Rosenfeld. These are like a really beautiful double magenta. So these two are probably my favorite. And then this is like a double white. I'm not sure the exact variety because I bought them, I don't know, someplace, and it just said, like double white, and there's a ton of different varieties. But good question, Charlene. Do you pick the marshmallow stage for tree peonies? I don't know. I actually don't have any tree peonies here. I want to get them, but I have a lot of Itos that I just started growing, and I'm trying to figure them out. So, I'm trying to figure out what stage to kind of cut them at. So I'll let you guys know the Ito story when I figure that out. And Elsa asked, how do you propagate peonies? Which is an excellent question. Elsa, you always have these like amazing questions. So in fall, if you have a mature peony plant, like the ones I just showed you, not like the little tiny baby one, like that one I showed you that was brand new. If you have a mature plant that's, say, maybe like 5 or 6 years old and it's really strong and thriving, you can dig it up in fall when it's dormant, and then you can divide the tuber. You're going to try to take a look at where you have a couple good sets of those eyes that come out. The eyes are where like the stems come from, and then you can divide it and pop it back in the ground. So I'll try to give you guys a great propagation tip for peonies in the fall when that comes out. But that was a super question. You always have great questions. And I want to thank, we had an anonymous person that supplied our cup of caffeine today. So I appreciate that. And this person left some really nice comments on our supporters page, you know, that they enjoyed my tips. So thank you for that, mystery person. I appreciate that. And if you ever want to buy me a cup of coffee, if you're enjoying my tips, there's a little link in descriptions below. And oh, guys, check this out. This is really kind of cool. This little vase, this is adorable. This is like a yogurt vase. My husband went shopping and he brings home like these 2 yogurts and he's like, I gotta tell you, I saw these yogurts on the shelf and they were like so much money. Like, you know, they were like double the price of the other yogurts. And I just gotta figure out, why are these so much money? Like, it was a ridiculous price, but I have to see what it tastes like. And I have to say, they tasted pretty good, but I think the joy of this yogurt was more the vase. So this is my new favorite peony vase. So as these guys are like falling to the ground or they're pooping out or like I make a blunder, I just pop it right in the vase, right in the yogurt glass. And I have these all over my house. So I have these like in my bathroom. I have them next to my sink, next to the soap. I have them next to my bed. So I think the yogurt is called like oui, like the French, you know, hello, O-U-I. And I have to say, it is pretty good, but it is super pricey. But if you think about it as buying a vase with yogurt in it, it's not a bad price at all, because the vase is like priceless for peonies. Like, isn't that awesome? So yeah, so the yogurt's called Oui, and go get your free peony vase with that yogurt. Tell them I sent you. And let me think what else I got for you guys today. Oh, guys, please hop on over to my Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group, because there's gardeners from all over the world, and you guys are posting pictures of your beautiful flowers, and you're asking great garden questions, and you guys are answering each other. So I really, really appreciate that. Oh, Elsa said a bit of baking soda helps preserve the flower life. Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you for that. I love when you guys share your tips with me, because you are like a collective, tremendous wealth of garden knowledge. So that's amazing. So please hop on over to that Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group. There's a link in descriptions below. And also say hi to us over on our Cranbury Fields Instagram page. I try to post there a lot during the week. And so guys, I will see you in the next video. And thank you so much for being patient with my technology skills today, especially when someone called me that like threw me over the edge, but you guys were awesome. So you're a terrific flower tribe. And I will see you guys next Thursday, 10:30 hopefully. And thank you, Yaneth, for checking in from Maryland. And thank you for always checking in and letting me know where you guys are viewing this from. So, all right, guys, I will see you in the next